Good morning everyone. Welcome back to GK Today. And today we'll be discussing most important MCQs for 20th of September 2023. Let's start with our session. India handed over the G20 Presidency to which particular country? So Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi handed over the ceremonial gavel to Brazil's president. Who's it? Mr. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, initiating the process of transition of the president's chair for the next round of the G20 in Brazil. So Brazil country will officially take over the mantle of the presidency on 1st of December this year. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi proposed a virtual session of the G20 around the end of November so as to take the stock of the suggestions and decisions that were made at the Leaders Summit. Fine. So India handed over the G20 presidency to the country Brazil recently. Now let's revise some of the important questions regarding G20. First question is, Nifty 50 hits which mark for the first time on the following day of the G20 summit? So Nifty 50 hits the 20,000 mark for the very first time on the following day of the G20 summit, and the benchmark advanced for the 7th straight day against the backdrop of the G20 summit. So 46 of its components were advanced, with Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank and Adani Ports being the top contributors to the gains. And the journey from 19,000 to 20,000 took nearly 52 sessions. Fine. So Nifty 50 hits 20,000 mark for the very first time. Which country or bloc has been recently admitted as the permanent member of G20? This is African Union. Recently, African Union has been admitted as the permanent member of G20, and it consists of total 55 African countries. Which city is the host of the G20 workshop on climate resilient agriculture? The venue for this particular workshop is Hyderabad. Which city is the host of the G20 Trade and Investment Ministers meeting? Answer would be Jaipur city, that lies in Rajasthan state. Where is the 4th G20 Culture Working Group meeting held recently? Answer would be Varanasi. Which city is the host of the G20 Environment and Climate Sustainability Ministerial meeting? So the venue for this meeting was Chennai. Okay. These are some of the important questions regarding G20. Next question is, which North Indian state has unveiled its new state education policy 2023? So West Bengal government has come up with the state education policy 2023, which recommends a 3-language formula for classes 5 to 8 with special emphasis on Bengali language. Okay. So the committee also recommends that Bangla, that is Bengali as a subject, should be introduced from class 1 to class 10 for the students of other mediums of instruction. Okay. So recently West Bengal has unveiled its new state education policy 2023. Now let's have a look at different states that were in news. Which state or the union territory is set to unveil its electric vehicle policy 2.0? So Delhi government is set to unveil its EV policy 2.0, which will prioritize electric vehicle retrofitment as a key strategy for promoting the clean energy and extending the lifespan of existing vehicles. So this EV retrofitment involves converting traditional petrol or diesel vehicles into electric ones by replacing their internal combustion engines with electric powertrain. Okay. So Delhi is set to unveil its electric vehicle policy 2.0. Next question is, which state introduced a bill to exclude the entities that are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India? So the Assam government has introduced a bill that aims to exclude entities regulated by RBI from the ambit of Assam Microfinance Institution Act of 2020. And this move is intended to prevent dual regulation of such entities in the state, and this act was initially applied to all the RBI regulated entities including the NBFC MFIs. However, the recent amendment seeks to remove these entities from the scope of the Act, which aligns with RBI regulations further. Okay, so Assam state has recently introduced a bill to exclude entities that are regulated by Reserve Bank of India. Which state introduced the Nandini Krishak Samriddhi Yojana? Here answer is Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh has introduced this Yojana under the Nand Baba mission so as to enhance their cattle breeds and boost milk production in the state. Araku coffee, which was one of the gifts presented to the leaders at G20 summit, is from which Indian state? Yesterday we have seen that different products were gifted to the leaders at G20 summit. One of the product was Araku coffee and it is a product from Andhra Pradesh state. Mukhyamantri Ladli Bahina Awas Yojana is associated with which Indian state? This is a scheme from Madhya Pradesh. Next is, which state implements the Kalaignar Magalir Urimai Thogai Women's Basic Income Scheme? Actually, on the birth anniversary of Dravidian icon C.N. Annadurai on 15th of September, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has launched 1000 rupees monthly financial assistance scheme for the women of the state. And the state identified 1.06 crore women who will benefit from this particular scheme. Okay, so this is the Yojana from Tamil Nadu state. Who is the current Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu? Mr. M.K. Stalin. Let's revise some of the important schemes. Which city approved the aspirational city scheme for 100 most backward urban areas? This scheme has been approved by Uttar Pradesh state for its 100 most backward urban areas, which would be identified with the help of certain criteria that are set by Niti Aayog. Which state has extended social security to the transgender community through universal pension scheme? This is Jharkhand state. The cabinet granted approval for allocation of 1164 crore rupees for the industrial development scheme 2017 in which states? So cabinet has approved the allocation of this much amount for the industrial development scheme that was launched initially in the year 2018 in two states basically, which are these Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Okay, which scheme has been granted National Award for E-Governance 2023 Gold for application of emerging technologies? This is the scheme Swamitva, and Swamitva schemes work under Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Which state launched Gruh Lakshmi scheme? Answer would be Karnataka, and under this scheme 2000 rupees per month would be provided to the woman head of the families. Okay. Next question is, Bangladesh signed 2 bilateral instruments to enhance cooperation in infrastructure and satellite with which particular country? So Bangladesh and France signed 2 bilateral instruments to enhance cooperation in different fields including infrastructure and satellite, and the documents were first inked in presence of Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina and France President Emmanuel Macron were in Dhaka. Okay. Also don't forget that Emmanuel Macron is the first French president to visit Bangladesh country in the last 33 years, and he arrived in Dhaka from India after attending the G20 summit in New Delhi. Fine. So Bangladesh signed 2 bilateral instruments with France country to enhance cooperation in infrastructure and satellite. France was in news these days because of Varuna. Varuna exercise took place recently, and it is the exercise between India and France. Now let's revise some of the important partnerships and agreements that were in news these days. First is, India signed a memorandum of understanding with which country on energy cooperation recently? So India has signed this MOU with the country Saudi Arabia on energy cooperation. Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya has signed a memorandum of understanding with which company for industrial experience, training, scholarships and job creation? For this purpose, the Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya has signed this MOU with Airbus company. Which company signed an agreement with India Post to simplify cross-border logistics for MSME exporter? This is Amazon. Niti Aayog signed a memorandum of understanding with which institution on fast-tracking the Sustainable Development Goals? So Niti Aayog has signed this MOU with United Nations Development Programme. India signed a memorandum of understanding with which country to boost cooperation in the civil aviation? Answer would be the country New Zealand. Next question is very, very important. Which cricketer surpassed Sachin Tendulkar to become the opener with most number of centuries? This is Australian batter David Warner. Recently, he surpassed Sachin Tendulkar to become the opener with the most number of centuries in the international cricket, and he accomplished this milestone against the country South Africa in the second ODI, and this is David Warner's 46th international century, which is the most by an opener. Okay, with this he has beaten the record of Sachin Tendulkar. You can also be asked, David Warner, who was in news these days, belongs to which country? Answer would be Australia. Okay. Now here we'll discuss two important sport related current affairs. First of all, Vidya Ramraj is in news these days. Why? Because she has won the women's 400 meters in a personal best 52.4 seconds at the Indian Grand Prix 5 Athletics that took place in Chandigarh. Okay. Talking about Himanshi, who is the fastest quarter miler in the Asiad relay team with her 51.76 seconds at the recent interstate nationals in Bhubaneswar, could only finish at 15th position. Okay, simply you can be asked that Vidya Ramraj, who was seen in the news recently, is associated with which sport? Answer would be athletics. Okay. Now second news is regarding SAFF Under 16 Championship 2023. So which country has won this title? Answer would be India. India has won this championship by defeating the country Bangladesh. Fine. Simply you can be asked that which country has clinched the SAFF Under 16 Championship 2023 title? Answer would be India. And which country was the runner-up? Answer would be Bangladesh. Next question is, Election Commissioner Arun Goel visited which country to monitor the 2023 presidential election? So recently a 3-member delegation was sent to Maldives country to monitor the 2023 presidential election, which was led by Election Commissioner Mr. Arun Goel. And the team visited 22 polling stations in Malé and Hulhumale to observe the voting process, voter registration and booth arrangement. And the election's first round did not produce a decisive winner, as neither President Ibrahim Soleh nor opposition candidate Mohammad Muizu secured over 50% of the votes. Fine. So our election commissioner Arun Goel visited the country Maldives to monitor the 2023 presidential election here. Now let's talk about some of the recent and important appointments. Who has been appointed as the chairperson of the National Green Tribunal? This is Justice Prakash Srivastav. P.R. Seshadri has been appointed as the new MD and CEO of which particular bank? He has been appointed as the new MD of South Indian Bank. Okay. Who is the head of the all-woman panel appointed by the Supreme Court to oversee relief in Manipur state? This is Justice Geeta Mittal. Michelle Bullock has been appointed as the first female head of which country's central bank? She has been appointed as the first female head of the central bank of the country Australia. Which country has appointed Philip Green as its new envoy to India? This is again the country Australia. Next is, which badminton player has won the China Open title? So this is Olympic champion Victor Axelsen. Recently he clinched his first China Open title after defeating Lu Guangzhou, and the earlier Grand Slams of Victor Axelsen are, for example, Super 1000 titles like All England Open, Indonesia Open and the Malaysia Open. So NC Young, who is from South Korea, became the women's singles champion and she beat Yamaguchi Akane, and with this NC Young landed her 9th title of the year in the women's singles. Fine. So which badminton player has won the China Open title? Answer would be Victor Axelsen. Now let's talk about some of the important sport related current affairs. Which country has won their first ever FIBA Basketball World Cup title? This title has been won by the country Germany recently, and Germany has defeated the country Serbia. Magnus Carlsen, who won the Chess World Cup title, is from which country? Magnus Carlsen is from Norway country. Which country's women's football team won the FIFA World Cup title in 2023? So this is the country Spain, and Spain has defeated England to win this title. Fine. Also during this event, who was the player of the tournament? This was Aitana Bonmati, who is from the country Spain. Also with this, Spain and Germany are the two nations only to have secured both male and female titles. Fine. The book titled as Memories Never Die was launched as a tribute to whom? This book was dedicated to APJ Abdul Kalam. Which badminton player has claimed the Japan Open 2023 singles men's title? Answer would be again Victor Axelsen. Next is, which country has claimed to have regained the control of Black Sea oil platform? So the Ukrainian forces have regained the control of several gas and oil offshore drilling platforms that are close to Crimea from Russia, as per the Ukraine's military intelligence. And further it said that the Kiev's forces had retaken the drilling platforms known as the Boyko Towers in a unique operation. Fine. So your correct answer would be Ukraine. Next is, which public sector unit has developed its own laptop named as SMAASH? This is ITI Limited, which is a central public sector undertaking which works under the Union Ministry of Communication. Recently it said that it had developed its own laptop and mini PC that match international quality and performance. So this laptop has been named as SMAASH, and for this purpose ITI has partnered with Intel for design and manufacturing. Okay, so ITI Limited has developed its own laptop, the name of which is SMAASH. Now similarly, Aerobot, which has developed unmanned guided vehicle for the Indian Armed Forces, is from which city? So this is a startup from Hyderabad, and recently it has developed unmanned guided vehicle for the armed forces which would help them in logistics, surveillance and reconnaissance in difficult terrain and environment. So it can carry up to 200 kgs on top and tug up to 600 kgs with a 30-degree view, and it can do multiple other functions with additional attachments. Fine. Simply you can be asked that Aerobot, which has developed unmanned guided vehicle for the Indian Armed Forces, is from which city? So it is a startup from Hyderabad. Also, the NTPC Green Energy Limited, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of NTPC Limited, and Nayara Energy, which is a new age international downstream energy company of international scale, have entered into a memorandum of understanding to explore opportunities in the green hydrogen and green energy space. So this MOU seeks to collaborate and produce green hydrogen for Nayara Energy's captive usage and to accelerate decarbonization and catalyze reduction in carbon footprint. Okay, you can be asked that which public sector unit subsidiary has signed a memorandum of understanding with Nayara Energy to explore opportunities in the green hydrogen. Answer would be NTPC. And now the last question says, when is the National Forest Martyrs Day observed? In India, National Forest Martyrs Day is commemorated every year on 11th of September. Basically, it is a tribute to those who laid down their lives defending the forest and wildlife. So the origins of the National Forest Martyrs Day date back to 1970 with a tragic event known as Khejarli massacre that occurred in the Marwar Kingdom of India. Fine. Simply you have to remember, National Forest Martyrs Day is observed every year on 11th of September. Similarly, on 12th of September, International Day for South-South Cooperation is observed every year, and this year the theme is solidarity, equity and partnership. Okay, so South-South Cooperation is a kind of manifestation of solidarity among the peoples and countries of the South that contribute to their national well-being, their national and collective self-reliance and the attainment of development goals, right? You can be asked that when is the International Day for South-South Cooperation observed? Answer would be 12th of September. Let's have a look on some of the days that are in news. When is World Physiotherapy Day observed every year? We observe World Physiotherapy Day on 8th of September, and this year the theme was arthritis and the role of physiotherapists. Okay. Second is International Literacy Day is observed on which day? This day is observed every year on 8th of September, and this year the theme is promoting literacy for a world in transition. When is the National Small Industry Day observed in India? This day is observed every year on 30th of August. Cabinet declared which day as National Space Day in India? So Cabinet has declared 23rd of August as the National Space Day in India. Why? To commemorate successful landing of Chandrayaan 3 on the moon, right? So these are the most important current affairs and the news from today. And now let's start with today's quiz. Here on the slide you can see 5 questions which have been taken from the past 2-3 days current affairs. Pause the video and try to solve each of these questions. And at the end of the lecture, do not forget to share your scores in the comment section. So please be honest and do not cheat with yourself. So that's it for today. I hope you have liked the session. These were the important news and events from today, and we will meet again tomorrow with some more important current affairs. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe to GK Today. With this, me Nuzhat Sana signing off.